Okay, great. Thanks again for joining us. As I mentioned, I'm John Harris, one of Epson's education account reps. We have reps that cover the entire nation. So after the event here today, if you need more assistance or have any additional questions, we'll open up a question section at the end of the meeting. You can ask them there. Or we also have some handouts posted in the handouts section that will provide a map and contact information for the rep that covers your region. There's also handouts there going over some of our software, as well as other items for you to download. So first of all, I want to start today. We're going to talk about the Epson BrightLink interactive projector. That's what you see up on the board behind me here, projecting. There's 4 models. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You probably have one of these 4 models, but if not, you may have an older Epson BrightLink projector. Some of the controls and interface might be different if you're on a BrightLink 600 series or older. So let's first and foremost just talk a little bit about how this projector works and some of the main accessories that are used with it. So one of the things you just need to know about the Epson interactive projectors, if you're not familiar already, maybe you just got yours, is they're interactive projectors that use 2 interactive pins. These come with all of the 4 models. You get 2 pins, a blue pin and an orange pin. These pins are battery operated. They use rechargeable batteries. I would say, heavy use, you might need to charge it once every other week. If you're not using it a lot, you might want to charge it about once a month. The way you can check to see if your batteries are good, you just press a little button on these pins and it'll show you a blue light, and that'll confirm that your pins are working. So all 4 of the BrightLink models come with the 2 pins, and they allow you to both annotate and interact with the projected image like a mouse. Another thing to know is, like, say for example, you have a BrightLink that is also touch enabled, like the model we have here, and you're using the pins, but the batteries have died. The pins will essentially function like a finger touch up on the board and interact with the surface, but you won't be able to control like a mouse because it's just kind of an object at that point, right? If you don't have a touch enabled BrightLink and your batteries run out of your pen, you're not going to get any functionality out of them at all. So you need to just keep an eye on the batteries there in your pens. For the most part today, hands to touch and interact with the screen, that's sort of my preferred method, but some people use a pen and touch, some people just use the pens. It's really all about personal preference and sort of what configuration you have with the touch and pen interactivity. Another thing to take a look at about our setup here is one of the common questions I get is sometimes we get questions about the calibration of the projectors. So the thing to note about the calibration of the projector, particularly if you have the touch module, is that if you take a look at our setup, you can see there's no obstructions around the board, right? There's no things stuck to the board. There's nothing too close on the outside edges of the board. There's a thin bezel down here at the bottom. There's not a reflective pin tray. And that's important because the way that the touch interactivity works up here is it shoots an infrared curtain down in front of the whiteboard surface. And when you break that infrared curtain, that's how you create the interactivity. So that's why I always like to warn about, having flutter or sort of things interfering with where that interactive light curtain comes down. Or if you do have a pin tray, we do provide in the box for the projector some sort of infrared deflectors, little black plastic pieces that you can put on the bottom of the board there to help, nullify any sort of reflection. So that's just some basics about the pins, about the configuration, sort of what you want your board and the surrounding area to look like to get the best experience for the projector. Now that we've talked about all that, I just want to talk a little bit about our home screen here, right? So that's what you see behind me is the BrightLink home screen. This is what you're going to see when you first power up the projector. And then you can see on the top row here, the main thing what you're going to see is all the connections that you can, different types of ways you can connect to the projector. So I have my computer over here to the left. My Windows PC is connected to the BrightLink projector with 2 cables, one USB for the interactivity, one HDMI for the audio and video. And that's how I'm connected to the projector right now. My computer's on HDMI 1. I have a document camera connected to HDMI 2. HDMI 3 is open. If you're still using a VGA connection, we certainly have that available for you on the back of the BrightLink. And we also have, just go back to my home screen here. We also have a regular video connection for old VCR or sort of DVD player style. And then you got your 3 wireless ways you can connect down here at the bottom. We'll talk more and more about these as we go through. So that's all your types of connectivity you have up here at the top. And then down at the bottom, you have some other basic controls we'll go through real quick. You got your power button. You can turn it off, on over there. You've got your built-in PC-free whiteboard right here. You've got the ability from the home screen to split the screen, some information on screen sharing to other projectors, different ways you can connect, and some basic settings. So I'll kind of just walk you through a few of these real quickly. So we'll jump into the whiteboard probably last because I'll show you some things in there in just a moment. But if we just tap the split screen button right here, this is a good example of what you get when you work with an interactive projector that's designed to be a 100-inch display. These projectors can go down as small as 65 inches, and some of them can go as large as 120 inches. So you really get the best value when you're talking about image size and interactive space, right? And what that allows you to do is choose to split between 2 or 4 screens on the home screen. So I'll just quickly choose 2 because I have 2 main sources plugged in right now. And what you're going to see is going to pop up my web browser. It's also going to pop up my document camera over here on the right. And the thing to know about once you get on these screens and you've split the screens, as you can see, I've kind of got a toolbar that popped up here at the bottom. It's got some controls. We can kind of talk about that in a second. But over here, you'll see there's a little 4 square box right down here in the bottom. When you hit this box, it's going to pop up another window here. And what this window does is allows you to go ahead and choose what side of the screen do I want each source to be on. So I've picked HDMI 1 to be on the left, HDMI 2 to be on the right. And then down here on the bottom, I've selected where my interactivity and where my audio comes from, right? So this is where you get another control panel that allows you to control where your audio, where your interactivity, and what screen is in what box. And you know, you can imagine if there was 4 sources connected, you would pick each of where those 4 would go. Down here, you get some ability to control the size of each screen. So let me just go ahead and hit execute there, and that's going to, you know, blow up the document camera side and sort of reduce my PC side. And as you can see, I'm interactive over here with the PC, and I also have volume over here with the PC, right? So that's just a nice way to split the screen right from the home screen. And then you've got your inking tools and so forth, and the little legend of what's controlling what down here. We'll talk more about those controls in a little bit. So I'll just go right back to the home screen here. And we'll take a look at a few more of those little controls down there. So we just talked about the split screen. I'm not going to go too into depth in any of these other controls down here, but they're just sort of like guides for you here. So if you tap the screen sharing, you'll get these sort of informational screens here that talk about delivering your projected image to another projector. So if you had multiple BrightLinks on the network, you could be showing content on this projector and then also send it to another BrightLink projector on your network and display it in that room. So nice feature there. Some people use. We've got more connectivity guides down here. And this just kind of goes through the different ways of connecting wirelessly. Gives you a little instruction when you hit these tabs, whether it's eye projection for Android or iOS, or Epson eye projection, wireless casting software for Mac, Windows, or Chromebook, or Miracast. So really the main ways you wirelessly connect to this. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then finally, just some basic settings over here on the settings wheel there. You can change the color mode. You can adjust the volume. You can auto-calibrate the pens, turn on some closed captioning if you need it, and then also set the aspect ratio of the projector. I would suggest not messing with the aspect ratio. Might need to do auto-calibration occasionally. We've got some great videos to show you how to do some of these things. I'll show you how to access those as well. So there's a little bit about the home screen, the connectivity, the main buttons down here, right? But one of the main things about the BrightLink interactive projector is that if for some reason you are without your computer that day, we have built into this a digital PC-free whiteboard. Maybe you don't have your PC, maybe it's getting worked on for whatever reason, you know, even if you can have power to your BrightLink projector, you have the ability to go ahead and open up and run the built-in PC-free digital whiteboard. So I went ahead and loaded some content into the whiteboard here, but we'll talk about how we do that, right? So first and foremost, this is just the PC-free digital whiteboard. And you've got some controls over here, and then a sort of an annotation toolbar at the bottom. And then you got a couple more controls over here. So we'll just start over here on the left. Just to the right of the home screen, you've got a little sort of slash over a speaker and what a display, and that's really your AV mute. So if you ever just needed to shut the display down, gain control of the class. You can turn on the AV mute and make the screen go away. And then to bring it back, you just sort of have to tap your screen here and you come back. So you can sort of turn that off, grab attention to the class, bring it right back. Your content's still there. And then also these three little dots, these give you some more control. So if your projector is a network and you do have a sort of a mail list built in, you can email people right from the projector content that you have here. You have the ability to save any of your PC-free whiteboard content. You can set a timer, you can print it. Once again, we talked about sharing projection. Some of these other features are a little more advanced. You probably won't need them right away. But if you have questions about the participant list or some of that guidance down there, we can help you with that. So, one thing I've done here once I've opened up the PC-free whiteboard is I tap this little icon down here. Looks kind of like a film roll, but really what that is that's your tree of pages that you get access to over here on the right. So you can see I have multiple pages here right now. We'll just go over to page 2, page 3, and kind of flip through those right on my tree here. But what I've actually done with these images here is I put them into the whiteboard as a background. So what that means is if I come in here and I want to annotate, so I'll just come in here and select my pen and the color I want. I'm originally from the St. Louis, Missouri area, but now I live out here in Southern California where Epson is headquartered. And I'll tell you what, that was a great road trip when I first came out here and drove. I got to visit the Grand Canyon. I had a lot of fun with my friend. And although I love the Midwest, I think I'm going to stay out here probably for the rest of my time. But just a little example of how you can draw, you can annotate with the tools down here. If I just wanted to spot erase, for example, a section, I can touch that right there, go in and erase that section. If I kind of wanted to undo what I just did, I've got an undo or sort of a redo button down here. And this is what's great about backgrounds. When I go here to clear the screen, it's not going to take away my map that I've posted up, right? So I'll show you how you do that. We'll just add a new page. We've got a new page down here. And then I just come over here and we got this little 4-square icon that shows you, we've got built-in backgrounds. So you can just get lined paper or grid paper or even some green colored backgrounds. But what I was doing there is I was just inserting a image from one of our files here that we have loaded in a USB that's connected to. So I chose the USA map here. We'll go ahead and open. That one doesn't have much color. Let's try this one. That's the one with color. And I went in there and I said, I want to choose a background, but I want to select the background from one of my own files. And once again, here we are able to annotate on our background, right? And then not lose that content when we go. Like I said, here I've just got a little math worksheet right here. So once again, whether you're using the pens, right, and go ahead and grab one of these pens. And it's showing here, here's my orange pen. I can see down here in my little graph, it's already coded to green. So I could come up here and there's 6, this is 3. But, that's not quite thick enough. Let's see if I can't thicken up the ink there. So then we got 10, right? Okay, I still got some basic math skills. So this is how you could load in a background once again. And then say I wanted to import an image into this. And I'll go ahead and put the pen down for now. Say I wanted to just import another image and have some flexibility with that. I could go here, for example, and we'll select this image. Go ahead and open that. Let's see, did it give me another page there? We'll copy that. Okay, we're on our new page. Once again, come down here, tap the ink that I want. I can see it's on my hand. 6 once again. So, and then you have the ability to come in here and you can certainly tap on your pages. You can delete them. It'll ask you if you want to delete it, remove it. You needed to come over here and annotate. And say you wanted to be able to prevent anybody from coming up here and touching the board and being able to manipulate, write, erase, anything like that. See, now that I've touched this little icon over here, it's a little hand, and turn that on or off. That's turning off the ability to control the board by touching it. So that's a feature. If you have some content on there, you just want to make sure nobody messes with it, you can go ahead and tap that. And so long as they don't know how to undo that, right? So we turn the touch back on. You got other various controls in here. So you've got a marquee tool where you can sort of select an object, move that object around the screen. You can do some stuff like duplicate, copy, delete. You can rotate the objects around, change their size, all of this kind of stuff with the marquee tool. All right, so that's just right down here. As I mentioned, you've got a pen tool that can be a pen or a highlighter. You can change the thickness. You can draw shapes with it. You've got a spot eraser or a clear screen. And as I mentioned, clear screen will take off content. For example, if I just go ahead and add a new page down here, and you can add up to 50 pages within this software, but it just makes it real easy to come in here and annotate on the board with your hands. And then if I wanted to just go back and remove that, once again, clear screen, all of that's very easy from the controls down here at the bottom. So the PC-free whiteboard is a great tool. And what's really nice is that, I'll show you shortly, we have a software version of this that you use when you are connected to your PC that mimics some of these features and also gives you some more features. So we'll show you that in just a little bit, but that's kind of the basics of the PC-free whiteboard. You have the ability to create pages, control those pages, zoom in, add backgrounds, annotate, add content, remove content, all of that good stuff. But mostly what teachers are doing with our projectors is they're using them connected to a computer, PC, a laptop, Chromebook, some type of computer device, right? And as I mentioned, I'm over here, I'm connected to this projector right now with cables, HDMI and USB, but they can be connected to wirelessly. I'll show you a little bit about that at the end. As I mentioned, this is just a nice page here that kind of highlights the current 4 models of interactive projectors. As I mentioned, the basic difference here is just in the resolution of the projector and the brightness of the projector, or does it come with the touch interactivity built into or sold in the box with the projector? If you don't have the touch module with these BrightLink interactive projectors, certainly you can add it at any time. It's just a accessory that we sell. To note, at this point, maybe another good point to talk about some other accessories. Say you have the interactive pens and you use them a lot. You can see our tips here are kind of worn down. We do sell replacement tips, both hard and soft tips. And we also even have some spare parts. If you break the collar here around the tip and you're having trouble seeking a new tip, we can help you out get that as well. If you lose your remote for the BrightLink projector, there's some functionality on the remote you might need. If you lose the remote, we also sell the remotes as replacements. One other final thing I'd like to make note of is these little devices here you might see are sold. They come in the box with the projector, and they're actually used to put on the board, magnetized to it, to calibrate the projector. So you just want to make sure that your admin doesn't throw away these, because you might occasionally need them to recalibrate the touch sensitivity. So these are in the box along with those magnetic IR deflectors. So just a little note on that. As I mentioned, this is just kind of the activity that you can get out of the interactive projector. I've opened up a website, and I certainly have the ability to move around here. And as you can see, once again, we've got some controls down here at the bottom. And right now it's highlighted on the mouse control. But if I wanted to annotate on that, I just have to change that to the annotation mode. And I get a toolbar over here. Once again, same toolbar as we saw before on the whiteboard. So one more feature you get is a little mouse icon over here. So I can touch the mouse. And now I still have my PC interactivity, but I do also have my inking tools down here. So I can come in here and ink and have the ability to ink while still using the PC interactivity. So a really nice feature there. And as I mentioned, you kind of just got to look over here at the controls and see what are you highlighted on? What functionality are you using? Are you using the annotation mode? Are you in PC mode? If you like to use a combination of both, just touch over here on the mouse. That gives you the ability to control the PC with your hand. And then you can use the pen as your writing instrument, right? Another thing about the pens, you have the pen in your hand, and you're close to the board, you just kind of press the button, and you get a quick menu of inking tools that'll pop up. So you just do that by pressing the button. You can actually go into the projector settings and change the functionality of the button to a couple things. But the one we like the most is just to be able to get a quick ability to get some inking tools right here. Let's go ahead and just close that out. A couple other websites I'd like to show you. These are important websites. These will be beneficial for you. BrightLink training resources. This is something we've done for both installers and teachers as we posted videos online. These are sort of evergreen. We're also adding to these occasionally, but you certainly, if you get new BrightLinks, you want to have your installers make sure they follow the instructions in these videos. Certainly, Epson's here to help and support any questions you may have. And the same thing for teachers. We've got a resource website here where you can go to, and there's videos there that go over some of what we talked about today. And you can watch those at your leisure and kind of go through them when you have time to sort of test and train on those. So these are very nice websites to help you out with support, right? Like I mentioned, a lot of what goes on in classrooms is interactive lessons. Maybe you have some website you go to or some software you use where you want to interact with the students, and you want to give them a chance to come up to the board and interact with the content of the board. So this is one I like to use for demonstrations. It's kind of a little website that talks about electrical current and how to build circuits and things like that. And really the easiest one to sort of demonstrate. Oh, let's go back and make sure I've got my touch turned on. And I just want to drag over, a light bulb in here. And I think we'll need a source of power for the light bulb. And we'll grab a couple of wires and try to connect this and see if we can't get a spark here. Okay, so just a nice example of how easy it is to go to a website that uses interactivity to you could use this to demonstrate a lesson, teach a little lesson on electricity and circuits and so forth. This is just one example. Sort of another example I always like to show is this one right here, this sort of Google website where we've got a nice piano. I'm not very musically inclined, but as you can see, the projector itself does have built-in speakers. I think they're maybe about halfway up volume-wise right now. So just ease of interactivity and the ability to have volume right from the projector without any additional speakers. We do sell speakers if you need more sound, but most of the people we have report that the sound on the BrightLink is adequate for their needs. So, just easy interactivity. Here's a website a lot of people like to go to, a virtual field trip or something of that sort. So let's see if I can't pull up something here. So I just went ahead and chose the Disney Concert Hall as a location. And as you can see, you're able to kind of drop in here, take a look. And as mentioned, you can sort of do a virtual field trip if you want. Let's see if it'll drop our guy right down in there. So here we are, a nice, beautiful concert hall in Los Angeles. Some of you may have been there. If you haven't, I suggest you find a way to make a trip and enjoy a concert there. But Google Earth is a nice way you can sort of demonstrate the interactivity and also deliver a quite immersive experience for your students, right? So another great feature of just the interactivity of the projector and combining it with a PC, right? So lots of great use there. So, one of the other things I also like to show, I think this is very important. More and more, teachers are wanting to detach from their wired docking station and have some ability to move around the classroom. And one of the ways that they're doing that is with Epson projectors is with Miracast. Miracast is a great feature. It's really easy to connect to the projector with Miracast if you're on a Windows PC. That's what I'm using today. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and show. And probably best way to show this, I'll go ahead and stay on my screen here, my PC, but I'm just going to come over to my computer here, and I'm going to pull up the interface for Miracast. So if you could just show the lower right-hand side of this, I think the right-hand side of the screen here, so I can show the window where Miracast pops up. So it's real easy to go ahead and do that. If you're on your computer and you just hit the Windows button and K, you'll hit the Windows button and K, and you'll see it'll pop up over here a couple of items to connect to. So there's my BrightLink display in the ISG demo. So I'll go ahead and connect to that. And I want to allow for mouse and keyboard input, right? So that's what keeps the interactivity. So let's go to my home screen now. And as you can see, I've got screen mirroring going right here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the cables. We'll go ahead and tap screen mirroring. Okay, and much like before, you can see I've got my laptop here. We're not connected with any cables. I've got my full ability to move around and interact. And once again, if I want to go into annotation mode, I can just select annotation mode, choose the color I want, the thickness I want, and highlight these couple skyscrapers here, right? And it's real easy to do. I can just go back and clear my screen. I can bounce around. Oh, let's turn this off. I can bounce around from tab to tab, move my pages, interact with those pages. Let's see if we can get that one to open up. So here, as I mentioned, here's kind of a little bit of that video series that we've got that's evergreen that you'll always be able to use, right? So once again, you can fully detach and go wireless if you're on a Windows PC. That's real easy to do with Miracast. Now, if you're on other types of devices like MacBooks or Chromebooks, Android devices, you would need to install Epson's eye projection software, and you can do one-to-one connections between just directly to the projector in those devices, or you can do it over your network infrastructure, right? So you would need to work with your IT admin to have some of that set up, but that's a free software. It's available to the teachers, and that's a free download from Epson or found in the various app stores. Just close that out. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the sort of BrightLink tips and tricks that I have for today. We can just kind of quickly review what we went over, right? As we talked about, you want to get familiar with your home screen here, where you've got your multiple HDMI connections and your screen mirroring options. Probably the two key most important features right down here at the bottom are going to be your whiteboard and your split screen functionality that you would use. Right. We talked about the PC-free built-in whiteboard. Oh, you know what? I had one more thing I wanted to show you. The PC-free whiteboard reminded me of that. So we can do that real quick. I mentioned Epson has a software that we utilize called Easy Interactive Tools. And I do sort of have a pre-built lesson that I created in that software. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. So this is an example of what you can do with Epson's Easy Interactive software. You may use a different lesson building software. Much like our eye projection, this is just a free application from Epson, no licensing. Download it, install it, put it on as many devices as you like. But essentially, it functions just like the PC-free built-in whiteboard, right? So you can see over here, I've got my tree of my various pages I've already built. And I built all of these within the actual software itself. So I didn't use any other application. I just utilized the tools that you have in your toolbar down here with Easy Interactive Tools. So we can take a look here. As I mentioned, I prefer to use my touch interactivity. And, you know, I'll close my tree over here so you can see the full thing, but one day our class decided to go to the store, let's say. When we got there, we started to shop. So you can see where this is going. This is kind of the type of activity you might be able to do with your students, right? You have them come up here and choose the words. We noticed the store was busy. Oh, we noticed that oh, whoops, I want to erase that. So let me grab my spot eraser. We noticed that, whoops. Was busy. Okay, just a quick little lesson. Maybe you might get a little finer accuracy as far as writing your letters if you're using the pen. But as you can see, that's kind of how that works. That's just page 1, annotating, filling that in, right? If I want to jump over to page 2, this is another type of activity you might do. As I mentioned, you can just create this in the software. This is the kind of activity where after you've created your boxes and added the words, I'm just going to use this marquee tool to select an item, and then you can kind of drag it where it belongs. Right, so that's a little bit about, you know, using the marquee. And as I mentioned, you know, I kind of created this. I just went in here and I used some of the shape tools and line tools and created these little boxes. And then you also get some text tools down here where you can utilize and add text. So that's how I added the words here. Just another example, you know, how many mountains are in the area, circle them. We can kind of run this. Same type of thing. Another mountain there. Name 2 trails that intersect, highlight them in green. We've got that there. Trace the Appalachian Trail in red. Here we go. So similar, you know, this is how you can easily have quickly built lessons right in the free software from Epson, and you can address those with your class. You know, once again, another similar type of activity where you're going to move these words to their proper section. All right, so just another free software from Epson. That's another one of the handouts that I put in there. You've got your handout for your reps contact information, a little document that helps you download the software, and then also some just suggestions on how you could sort of activate and be more creative and do some more interactive lessons with the BrightLink projector and the software, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, key elements: home screen, connectivity, how that light interactivity works, splitting the screen, built-in whiteboard, PC interactivity mode and toggling on and off your ink or PC, using easy interactive tools, right? Or just simply using your PC and interacting with websites, right? So lots of functionality from the projector, really nice large images, interactive pins, interactive with touch. You can have multiple users up at the board. Lots of free software from Epson. And once again, if there's any more questions, please use the questions section in the webinar. And you can ask those now, we'll answer them. Or if you have more detailed questions and you'd like to set up a meeting, we're certainly happy to do that with you as well. And don't forget to download the handouts. So we'll go ahead and wait and see if you guys have any questions, and we'll answer those now.
There was a question about easy, I answered it, but easy eye projection, whether the students and.
Yeah, so there's a question about eye projection and whether the students and the teacher either need it or have access to it. So eye projection, free software download from Epson. There's 2 versions of the software. There's a version for teachers that's called the moderator version. And that allows the moderator to control the session and allows students to connect and choose which students can connect and what they can display at the board from the moderator version of iProjection. They can also block users from connecting. And with that software, you can have 50 devices total connected to the software and able to choose any of those other devices to project. With iProjection, you can have 4 different individual screens shown at one time. And then the student version is a similar version of the software, except it does not allow them the same level of control as to who can connect and who cannot connect. And that iProjection is available for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Chrome. And the key element being that the projectors ideally are going to be on your network. If they're not on your network, once again, you can connect one-to-one to the projector, but if you're on a Chromebook and you try to do that one-to-one connection, your wireless adapter is going to be taken up connecting to the projector, and that Chromebook's not going to be able to get up to the internet, right? So that's a little bit of a challenge with the Chromebook and the way they work, but there's ways to navigate around that as well, and we can provide help and assistance with that. Any other questions?